Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about and channeling the Oracle of Delphi. So this morning I was woken up by the Oracle of Delphi. She's not someone that I've ever been in contact with before. I'm aware that the Oracle of Delphi was a title. Her title was Pythia. And that's what we call the Oracle of Delphi. It was a job, effectively. Many people, many women had done it. But I was woken by one in particular. The Oracle of Delphi, the Pythia, was the high priestess of the Temple of Apollo in Delphi. So I'm just going to talk about what happened this morning, give you a bit of a background about her, what she looked like, how she came across, how she spoke, and then later on I will channel her for you. So I'm just going to put my reading glasses on because I was sort of woke up in the morning and badly scrabbled when she started speaking to me to make notes on my phone of what she said. So I woke up this morning and straight away saw a woman. She looked just like one of the women. She showed me herself in profile. She looked just like one of the women on a Greek vase or on one of the paintings from say Knossos, the palace, the Minoan palace of King Minos and things. She had, sorry, I've lost my notes. I'm going to try and find them again. Where are they? Do you not know? Where have you gone? They've disappeared. Oh my goodness, I'm being thwarted. Is Mercury retrograde still? Oh my goodness me. File open recent. There we go. Oh my goodness me. Right. Right, back on track. So she showed me herself in profile. She had quite a slim, pert, aquiline nose with a slight bump. She had black, very dark brown or black curly hair, but it wasn't thick curly hair. It was in individual ringlets. And she had a circlet on her head, from which ringlets sort of came underneath and also then it up on the back of her head. And she immediately started, she didn't say who she was, and she immediately started giving me a message. So I madly scrabbled to start making notes on my phone. So the Oracle of Delphi is the high priestess of the Temple of Apollo, and she served as the primary source of prophecy in ancient Greece. The reason that the oracle was at Delphi was because apparently there was this great dragon. This is why she's called the Pythia, because the Greek word for dragon is python, and it's where we get our word for the big snake from. So there was a big dragon. The god Apollo came and slayed the dragon at the place that had been designated by the gods as the belly button, the navel, the sacral chakra of the world, and that was Delphi. Mainly because I think there was a chasm or a hole there that went down into the earth, so they thought that was the belly button of the earth. So Apollo slayed this dragon there, and apparently his body fell into this hole in the earth, and there it rotted. And the vapors the rotting dragon gave off were apparently what the Pythia, the prophetess, breathed in to meditate on and get messages from the divine. And it became the main temple of Apollo because of where this is where this story was centered. So when she came in, I've told you what she looked like. She was surrounded by vapors. And she kept saying the vapors. She was very misty. There was lots of smoke, strong smelling vapors around her. Um, she came across as a very, as someone who had no F's left to give. There was a very strong sisterhood energy, but I'm assuming that there was many priestesses or acolytes of that were women in the Temple of Delphi. So, being the head, the high priestess, she would have been in charge of them, and that's what came across. There was this very strong, not matriarchal, big sister kind of energy, very much taking charge. Um, when she spoke, she accentuated the sound of the last letter of what she was saying. And when I read the message she gave me this morning, I will try and say it in the way she said it because it was a very, I want you to get a sense of how she spoke. But I've also sat with it for a bit and thought about maybe that when she spoke, she did that so people would know when they came to her where the ends of sentences were, if you see what I mean, so that the message didn't blur into one. I don't know. Or whether that's just the way this particular Pythia spoke. Um, um, she had a sense about her of sadness and of a sort of quiet, righteous, feminine fury about her. Um, a bit like Medusa or Medea. Um, there was a very, well, it came across with this no F's left to give kind of energy, you know? It was like she was really, had had enough of what was going on in the world. Um, she, you wouldn't mess with her, let's say, but she was still very feminine, but incredibly strong in that femininity. She almost seemed disappointed that we were where we were. Um, and when you hear the first thing she said, you'll understand why. So I'm going to read you her message now. The exploitation of women. The faithful ones trine with the moon. The downfall is upon them. 7 days of peace will mark their end. Blessed are those who dance with the sun on their backs. 7 are those who stop him. 7 are those who do not turn back. That was the end of her message. And you see what I mean about the way she accentuated and overemphasized the last letter sound, which was interesting. I've never had that before with anyone. When she said the first part of her message, and this is how she came into me. She came in, she showed me herself in profile. She showed me her very classic Greekness, her very regalness, her very strong feminine power. And then she just said very slowly, the exploitation of women. And when she said that, she inferred, she put into my mind, but she didn't say, has always happened. It goes back in all time. And this is what, and that's when that sense of being angry, disappointed, fed up with it, and really sad came across, that it's carried on this long. And that was a very strong impression that she gave me. Now, you'll notice in this message, she said, 7 days of peace will mark their end. 7 are those who'll stop him. 7 are those who do not turn back. I thought that was very interesting because in numerology, the number 777 is a highly spiritual, positive, and auspicious number that signifies divine guidance, inner wisdom, and a period of rapid spiritual awakening. Which, considering we're in the time today, is the day of the blood moon in Virgo lunar eclipse. I'm a Virgo sun. Pythia, the asteroid that represents the Oracle of Delphi, is right on my ascendant in Gemini, which is my rising sign. Um, I don't know, I'm not an astrologer. I believe Pythia is in Gemini at this point on today with the Virgo. So I'm highly activated. So it's really interesting. She's come in today. She's talked about this number 777. She's conjured that image to us, the 3 7s. It's interesting because there's 3. It's the 3rd of March. The lunar eclipse occurs at 30 at something like 3:33 at the 33rd degree, all the threes. Um, the message we received on Sunday was from 3 that I recorded. 3 people came in, and now the Oracle of Delphi has said effectively 777. So 7 represents intuition in numerology, mysticism. And when it's triples, the triple goddess, its vibration is amplified. It being tripled, you've got the the Holy Trinity element to it. There are 7 classical planets in astrology: the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And we have just on Friday had a planetary parade of a lineup of planets. I think there was 6 in that one, not including the Sun and the Moon. So all these things are kind of aligning with what she's saying. Did you notice then where I went aligning and I did what she did? That's interesting. She must be around. Okay, that's good. The channeling will be good. And so it's the 777 is a number of positive transformation, which is kind of a message we need, right? To know that it's going to be okay at the moment. Life affirming changes, but it has a biblical significance as well. So in some traditions, 777 represents divine perfection and completion. And it is the opposite, the contrast to the number 666. So again, you've got this image of the yin and the yang, the black and the white, the 2 opposites, the 777, the 666. And seeing 777 is considered a validation that you should trust your intuition and continue on your current path as you're aligned with your higher purpose. So there's this sense of uh, what's happening being destined and fated. Now, what I also want to know is what the angel number 777 is. So I'm just going to pause the recording and go and grab my angel number book because I've forgotten it. Right, I'm back. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say about the Oracle of Delphi actually is when I looked her up afterwards, she apparently, when she did her prophecy, she sat on a 3-legged stool. And so do I when I'm recording this. I thought that was an interesting coincidence. Right, here we go. 777. Now, this is the Angel Numbers book by Mystic Michaela. It's quite a useful It's quite a useful book. But this is very interesting. 777. Face fear. Trust the divine. It says trust, 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 and go within. Your angels are asking you to release the fear of the unknown, to trust the universe and give up control of what is going to happen next. How pertinent. Your angels are telling you to not fear the future, but to rather embrace it with faith. That it's all in your best interest. It is perfect in the design brought to you by your most trusted guardian angels. Now, isn't that apt? So that's very interesting, the message she gave us, and that she's brought up the number 777. Um, when you look up 777 also in kind of wider numerological meanings, the advice is that it brings apparently is stay positive. It's like a validation that you're on the right path, you're doing well, trust your intuition, listen to your inner voice, and refocus on your goals. So use this energy to continue working towards your life purpose, but also you may want to reassess your life purpose. And so let's see when I do the channeling if that comes up. But there's lots of the same message, isn't it? That even when you look up the numbers that she's referencing in the message, it's they reaffirm, and I don't do numerology. I'm not a numerologist. I don't know angel numbers, which is why I've got a book so I can look it up, and yet what she's saying is the same messages numerologically, astrologically, and I'm not an astrologer either. So the astrology, the numerology, and the messages that we've been getting from other deities and guides are all reaffirming the same things. I might pull a few cards. She picked out earlier to use the Queen of the Moon Oracle deck. When I channel, I'll show you what she's put one crossing. That's interesting, what she's thrown out here. Oh, no, that's very interesting. So look at the cards she's chucked out. I haven't even asked a question about what she wanted to say. And she's put release, darkness. It's almost like she's made a sentence with them. Release darkness and fear. Release the darkness and fear. And then she brought out crossing these. So when the cards came out, they came out like that with two crossing. They don't normally fall out like that. Either a chunk will fall out or one will fall out. These came out crossing, and look what's crossing. So she's saying, release the darkness and fear, which is also in line with what she said and what was crossing it. So the things that are going to influence that are protection, you're protected, and resistance, you're resisting. And look, this bird is flying with a person in a nest. So it's like we're being incubated. So the change is happening now. Obviously, changes are happening now. But there's this divine creature of the air, our ancestors used to think that birds were messengers from the gods because they could fly, and they moved between worlds in a literal sense. And these messengers of the gods are flying us while we're incubating in a nest. It's saying, don't resist, don't hold on. Release the darkness and fear. I'm just going to have a quick look at the cards and it's interesting, look, the fear card So there's birds in it there, but there's a cage and the person's trapped underneath. And didn't we have in our message from Merlin that we had a few weeks ago? He was talking about don't stay in your gilded cage. Let it go. Because, what's coming is more important. And look, I always get this darkness and there's a rabbit or a hare. And look, there's a lunar eclipse. Oh, I love it when there's synchronicities. It's a lunar eclipse. And there is the rabbit of the hare. And I always get these messages. This always reminds me of, I always get when I ask my guides, they always say to me, follow the yellow brick road, follow the white rabbit. Maybe they're just speaking to me in the language of my childhood, But to me, this is like, is I know it's not a white rabbit, but it always makes me think that and makes me think the yellow brick road. So, and also there was a card underneath that which I did not release. That's prophetic. Sovereignty. And there she is, the Queen of the Moon, the High Priestess. In the tarot, the High Priestess is the Queen of the Moon. She is a lunar goddess or a lunar priestess. Not that the Oracle of Delphi the Apollo was a sun god. But again, you've got a lunar eclipse. That is the sun and the moon coming together, isn't it? So, sorry, that is my three-legged stool slightly collapsing because it's a wind-up one. You can raise it up. So she's saying, release the darkness. Trust yourself, stay in your sovereignty. Oh, look what's underneath. Trust. Oh my goodness me. With the Oracle of Delphi, does she want to say anything else to us? Lunar eclipse again. Is there something? Yeah. A masculine. Oh, cover it up. Again, look, there's the completion, the full moon. It is a full moon, and there is a lunar eclipse. There's the divine masculine, the whole process. I apologize if you can hear noise outside. I think there's, I don't know, something going on. So that's a lunar god, and that's our lunar eclipse. So that's today, right? That's the 3rd of March. So what is it? What do we need to do on this lunar eclipse then? Is there something that we can do on this lunar eclipse that would aid us? She's okay. Extremes. Extremes. Yeah, we certainly are very polarized, aren't we? And there's resistance. We're holding on. One half of us is resisting. But what can we do? Do you have any advice about what we could do? Oh my goodness. I apologize for my stall. I think it's done. Okay, again, we've got the divine masculine again. Strength, protection. Be strong, be gentle, be kind. But there's this completion. You see, he's got all the lunar cycle there, and there's the full moon. The full moon is the completion of the lunar cycle. I know some people use it to magnify, to bring in, but I absolutely don't. For me, it's the end. It's the end and the finishing and the completion and the letting go. And patience. And again, there's another full moon, and she's got a balloon, and look, she's walking towards the void, the infinity. We're sort of in this tunnel. So what is she saying? So she said extremes and resistance. So to me, that's let go. So she's saying, let go and just trust and just go with it. Whatever comes up in your life, opportunities, whatever, step into your courage to go a different way, make a different choice. But she's also saying, be patient. Be patient and be strong. Sorry, I've got to cover that up. Be patient and be strong. Because look, there's a balloon there as well. Have fun. Have fun in your life. Don't stop having fun in your life because what is going on outside of your life that you cannot influence. There's this sense of like good times are coming. And look, if you see in the background of this one, they're holding hands. So there's this balance. Stay balanced. Perhaps have empathy for those whose opinions you don't share. Try to understand that where and why they might be coming from that place. And this sort of feeds into the homework Gwyneth Ruth gave us on Sunday, which was, to try and understand why people are triggering you. But this is a step on, isn't it? Not just to understand what you can learn from how you react to things, even if they're negative, but this is also a step on to trying to find common ground in some way and trying to understand the place that they're coming from. Um, and the underlying card is an absolutely lovely one. Blossoming, blossoming. And again, a full moon. We're getting all these full moons. So that's her advice for what we can do in the full moon. But this is a have faith. This is a blossoming. This is a sense, and we had this the other day, didn't we? With I can't even remember who I was channeling, but there was this imagery of the lotus of rising up from the mud and a blossom coming from the sludge. And this gives me the same vibes. In the light of the full moon, she's rising up from all these flowers and playing music. That something beautiful is going to come from all this. Right, going to get on with the channeling now. So, channeling the Oracle of Delphi. I'm going to talk you through what she's asked me to do to prepare. So, she's asked me not to eat. She's asked me to do my normal cleanse of the room, of myself. She's asked me to wash my hands. Let me take that down a bit. She's asked me to wash my hands with pure water and use a fresh towel, freshly washed towel to dry them. She's asked me to burn some resin incense, frankincense and myrrh there. The vapors, she says, the vapors. Um, she's asked me to use some dragon's blood. You see this? This is obviously not dragon's blood. This is from the dragon's blood tree that grows in parts of Africa and Madagascar, I believe. When you cut it, it seeps with blood. The sap is blood red. She's asked me, this is dried powdered dragon milk. She's asked me to put this in the palms of my hands. That's what she's asked me to do. She's guiding me to put the dragon's blood on the palms of my hands. Okay, before I channel anyone, I asked her if she wanted to be channeled with some cards, and she chose the Oracle of the Moon, Queen of the Moon Oracle to use. That is by Stacey DeMarco. The cards she gave me were the masculine. And there's a full moon, which is quite apt because obviously today is the full moon eclipse. The full moon was yesterday, the 2nd, overnight. So the moon is still full. And it's the day of the lunar eclipse. And you can see the whole cycle, so completion. And this is the masculine god. Now that's interesting, obviously, because she's the goddess of, she's the Oracle of Apollo, who is a masculine god. Hopefully that won't set off the nudity things on YouTube. And this is about stepping into your power and positive attributes. I'm already starting to channel, I can't speak. Then she gave me assessing And it's interesting here that it's a half moon, so it's half black, half white. It is a balancing, it's the yin and yang, which is that rebalancing we've been getting through in so many messages recently. And this is about truths being revealed. It's about self-assessment, self-reflection, shadow work, that sort of thing. And then she also gave me realization. And if you notice, there's a key lock, a keyhole, key lock, can't speak. And if you watch my last video, we were given a message about what's happening now and being the key that breaks the lock and it being a door. And she's given us this two worlds, sort of day and night, unlocking, perhaps a veil coming down. And what's that in the middle? I want to see what it is that's in the keyhole. It's a woman. Oh, it's Alice in Wonderland. It looks like Alice in Wonderland. I don't know if you can. Oh, I stalled there. I apologize if I apologize. My internet connection's going a bit bonkers. If you can see down the bottom here in this keyhole, I don't know if you heard me saying that the last message that we got on that Sunday morning one I did, the message of the three, they talked about this period we're going through now being the key that breaks the lock. Um, and if you look down here, this is obviously there's a keyhole, the imagery of the lock as well. But if you look here, this figure, not only is she a golden figure and she's walking through the keyhole, it's like Alice in Wonderland who has shrunk to walk through the keyhole to unlock the door. Well, she doesn't even need to unlock the door, does she? She's, it breaks the whole thing. She's actually just walking through. But Alice in Wonderland, now that's really interesting because for me personally, when my journey started, um, one of the things I would see all the time in journeying was the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. Follow the white rabbit, follow the white rabbit. So that's interesting that she's given me that. So there's this imagery of the divine masculine, a masculine god, perhaps Apollo, although he's a solar god, but I suppose you could take that as that of stepping into your power, of self-assessment, self-realization and balance, and it unlocking a realization, a divine truth. And the underlying cards for those cards she gave me were peace, which speaks for itself, doesn't it? Peace and meditation, which we've been told to do, and trust, which we've been also told to do. And they're sitting on the nest. And there's like a divine egg bubbling up. What's in it? I apologize about having to put my glasses on and off constantly. What is in it? It's us. I apologize if you can see that and you're shouting at the screen. It's us. And that's interesting because there's a duck and a goose. That's a goose and that's a duck down there. I've had geese honking over my house for the last few days as well, which is a sign of the mother. Sorry, I'm wiping dragon's blood all over my face. Oh dear, the chaos. Right, so I've got a dragon's blood spray here as well. So I'm just going to spray that around. Right. So channeling the Oracle of Delphi. I might cut this if it takes me too long to get in the zone. I might cut it. So if I sort of disappear and reappear, that's what it is. Child, you are not ready for what comes. Preparedness is never enough for such times. Welcome to the beginning of time. I stand before you as a herald of agency, of a time starting anew. That you will make yourselves, if you have the courage, come now into the futures, my dears. But be mindful to make them with joy and not with fear. She's asking me to inhale the vapors, or at least put them under myself. Time waits for no man, and those that cannot change will be left behind. In a quagmire of their own making. Seven are they that bind his hands. Seven are they that break the wheel. Seven are they that feel the sun on their backs. March the magnificent, April the breaker, May the joy, the hope, June a battle for succession, suppression, July the fight back, August the turmoil, September the start, October consolidation, November a turmoil, a viper's nest, December the scales of justice fall, for all to see, and a great change comes. Victorious. She's showing me laurel, a laurel crown. Isis comes, flies. Ishtar steps strong. The one with the golden, she's saying eye and tooth at the same time. Steps forward to take the crown, but is thwarted by those who are too weak to fight themselves. But have courage when their lineage is thwarted. Come now into the future. Courage is required. Things will come thick and fast, thick and fast. Stay strong to the end, for the end is worth waiting for. It will be glorious. You are tantamount to a river, a stream of golden light, golden threads, pushing into where your kind has not been before. Sekhmet's vengeance is upon you. But her vigor is not directed at those who are meek. Tell them to go on their way. And they will do so. But you must say the words. Do not fear. You must tell them what you feel in your heart. And then it will be so. Many are those who come I can't work out what she's saying. It sounds like valiant or vacant. Many are those who come valiant through the tears in time to assist you now. She said the word CERN. Just as it enables the darkness, it enables the light to drive them from these lands. The tumult is upon you. But it is not your destiny. Do not concern yourselves if you are not touched by it. Separation is key. Key. I hold you in the palm of my hand. She's saying Ossimander. Arthur said Ossimander as well. It means the farmer of oxes, like Norwegian, ancient Norwegian. Ossimander comes. We'll have to look back and see what Arthur said about Ossimander coming, what he said about that. Ossimander comes. He lights the way for those who wish to progress into something better. Blessed are they who challenge the conventions of their own lives at this time. Trouble comes only from stagnancy. Beware the same, beware the ordinary. It traps you where you stand. Now is the time to ride the horse into the future. Brave ones, curious ones, old ones. She said, thank you. Right. Thank you. Pythia, thank you. Well, oh, she's standing behind me with her hands on my shoulders, which is interesting. Okay, so I'm not going to remember any of that. Um, there you go. Let me know in the comments what you think your interpretation is. I will look up what Arthur said in one of his messages about Ossimander, and I'll pin a comment or something and see if we can piece it together. Yeah, and let me know what you think. And yeah, she's saying be strong and have courage. And I'm already starting to forget what she said. And yeah, see you next time.